This is your captain speaking. It is going to be a smooth descent into Coffee Sometimes land this morning. It's Tuesday. Let's get ready to rip.
Welcome to the Coffee Sometimes podcast. Ross, thank you for bringing us in with that incredible intro.
Thank you, Ross.
I just come up with this stuff. I just think of it. It's crazy.
Hey, did y'all miss us last week? Because we missed you. And we didn't know we weren't podcasting. But we were away. We took our podcasting equipment with us, and then we didn't have time.
We had every intention of recording programs.
Yes, we did. But then some stuff got in the way.
Life happened.
Yeah.
All right.
So we're back this week, and we're going to be talking about vision casting.
Mm-hmm.
How about that? How you can sit down and take a look at your company and say, where do I want to go?
And why?
And why?
And
We're
with-
also going to
with whom?
go ahead and drink some fancy coffee. And we are going to talk about Chapter 13 of Unreasonable Hospitality.
Leveraging affirmation.
Oh, yeah. But hey, since you're here, why don't you go ahead and scroll down, smash like, subscribe, and comment your favorite pizza.
Pizza.
Pizza
favorite
topping,
pizza?
pizza brand, anything really.
Pizza style.
And if you are on a podcast app, whenever you park your car, because you're probably driving,
Good
go ahead
call.
and give us a 5-star review on your podcast app
Do
of choice.
not give us a review while you're in motion.
And then share this podcast with your friends on Instagram, Twitter, X.
What?
Yeah,
It's X now?
yes. Threads,
TikTok.
TikTok, whatever you choose,
Click
really.
clock.
Click clock. So thank you for that. But
And we'll wait. Just go ahead.
yeah, we'll wait.
Water first.
Okay. Nope, it's too late.
Wait, no, I can do it.
Oh my gosh.
Cut to Ross.
You guys want to know how much that coffee was for 100 grams?
How much?
$25.
All right.
You,
This is the
you hit
second
the
time
nail on the head.
I've messed up coffee on air. So
All right.
let me just
All
go.
right, I'll go get another filter.
All right. Hey, can you give me another filter?
You know, that's kind of a good segue. You know, life is kind of, it's messy.
It's messy,
It's
but,
not perfect,
but it's worth it.
but sometimes you make mistakes and then you just have to take a step back, accept your reality,
Yeah.
and move on.
Wow. I've never thought of that ever. And I really appreciate this revelatory moment.
Well, this would be a good time to talk about the coffee we're drinking.
Yes, it would.
Yeah, Ross, why don't you tell me about that coffee?
Well, I don't know much about it other than I could scan this handy dandy QR code.
I have some information. So you don't have to do that.
Well, can we just go through the UX right now?
Yeah, you go for it, and I'll tell about the coffee. So this is a coffee from Black and White, someone we admire and look up to in their innovation and fancy stuff. And the coffee is Colombia La Palma y el Tucan.
Wow.
Bio Innovation
Come on now.
Natural. And this is a little note about the processing. Sebastian Villamizar buried clay pots in the forest floor to control temperature. Inside, he mixes perfectly ripe coffee cherries with a microbial-rich compost that is made at La Palma and serves as an organic and biodiverse fermentation substrate. The coffee cherries are left to ferment in the clay pots for at least 100 hours before being removed to raised beds to dry as a natural. The result is a very well-executed anaerobic natural coffee wherein just enough fermentation is used to elevate the existing flavor characteristics of the Geisha lot without overpowering those flavors with funk. How about that, boys?
And
And it's a Geisha.
which is the variety of the coffee.
Correct.
Similar to, we talk about types of apples, Granny Smith, Fuji, Golden Delicious, Red Delicious. This one's a Geisha. All right, Ross.
You got this, Ross?
man.
Yes.
Also, to break down what they were saying, because we've had anaerobics on our menu before, and typically the coffee cherries are plucked and then put into stainless steel tanks that are sealed and then monitored their pH levels. But in this coffee, the description was saying instead of like a stainless steel tank, they're in clay pots and then put underground.
Yeah,
Jeez.
in the forest floor, whatever that means.
In the forest floor.
Probably just like on the ground in the forest.
Yeah, I guess I was just imagining.
Maybe I'm thinking like dig a little hole around it, and then like maybe the top is
the lid
above.
is right there.
Yeah.
The lid.
The lid. The lid. The lid. Dude, SpongeBob.
Yeah,
Ross
man.
just hit us with a SpongeBob
I
reference.
know about some things.
Is that one and like Doodle Bob and Wumbo, like the three, you know?
Yeah. And I'm ready. I'm ready. I know what
Kind
that
of like
one
his
too.
catchphrase.
Yeah, that's like every episode.
Yeah.
That's good.
Okay.
Well, just a little case study. We went out of town, visited Charleston, South Carolina on an owner's retreat, and we had a question for all of our servers. And it was the brainchild of Ethan.
Oh, yeah.
And the question was as follows. Where do you think we're from?
What state?
What state do you think we're from? I'll give you a hint. We were all born and raised there, and it's not South Carolina.
And you did it after we were kind of chopping it up for a little while. They already had a sense of who we are and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It was slightly beyond first impression.
No one was right. And I think because everyone thinks that if you're from Georgia, it means you have a strong Southern accent.
Actually.
Should I still go 2 minutes even though it's a bigger dose?
Yes.
Okay.
What do you mean?
Full immersion, baby.
Yeah, it should be all the same.
What is he talking about?
Were you able to see how much your dose changed from 32 after the accident?
It actually didn't change.
What?
I know. I was able to.
When's the last time you guys brewed a clever? Dude, look at how
Much water.
water that is at the bottom.
That thing really drained. Holy crap.
Yeah, dude.
Well,
the
there's a
drawdown
lot
time,
in here.
but still, though.
I made a Chemex yesterday. That thing takes forever. It gets clogged.
It
Yeah.
does.
It has such a small point
I know.
at which the water comes out.
A thick filter.
Yeah.
But yeah, we had a lot of Ohio,
West Virginia.
West Virginia.
We got Florida twice.
Nothing against those places.
That's not us.
That's just not us.
That's not our heart.
Someone said, I don't know what, Michigan.
Texas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
North
all
Carolina.
over, but yeah, North Carolina was the closest, I suppose. I would call North Carolina closer than Florida, even though you're a little bit Florida adjacent.
What is
Guilty.
What is a Floridian even? What are the characteristics of it?
I think it's such a diverse area. It's hard
Right.
to say because there's like North Florida, Central Florida. You have East Coast, West Coast. Then you have like Miami vibes.
Yeah, I'd like to think we're Miami vibes.
Definitely.
I think that's
Yeah,
what she
definitely.
meant. That's
Yep.
what she meant by
For
Florida.
sure.
Yeah, like we came up from Cuba.
Yeah.
We got some flair.
I think Miami was the place where I feel like I fit in least of maybe anywhere I've ever been.
Because there's a little country boy.
Because I am not 8% body fat. Yeah.
Oh,
Wow.
And everyone there was extremely good looking.
really?
But you are too.
You're awesome, buddy.
I mean, maybe not extremely, but you know.
Heck, none of us are.
Dang.
We're Dawsonville 10s.
I'm a 10 where I come from.
Oh man. Well, that's not even true. Relative to what people
Yeah.
want, you know?
Yeah, I guess it's all just like relative.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Oh my gosh. You're right.
Does
You're
that
right.
make sense?
Man, I'm so excited about that coffee.
Yeah. We're
Hey, stir it up.
Yeah, dude.
Don't
Stir.
WDT.
You wouldn't. You're gonna over extract it, bro.
Oh my gosh.
I kid.
Hey, on the trip, what was some good coffee you guys had? Speaking of our little Charleston getaway, I'll say one. We went and visited Profit Coffee,
Oh yeah.
our friend
yeah.
Bristol over there.
Bristol.
And
Bryce.
his name is Bryson, but we just kept saying it wrong because we're like nice guys. Like that's what nice people do.
Yes.
And he made a Kenyan cold brew, and it was
Oh,
so
yeah.
inspiring to me because we always said this thing when we started Valor. We were like, cold brew makes every coffee taste the same. and then
There you go.
You always talk about how quiet you are, but the reason you're quiet is because you need to get a little closer to the mic, and I love you.
you're right.
That was heavy.
Yeah. Let me just recoup my thoughts. Cold brew. We always said it tastes the same no matter what, but I think we were just wrong because we didn't like cold brew and didn't want to make it against people's wishes. And then tasting like a really fun, complex coffee brewed on cold brew, I was like, this is awesome.
Let's be clear. Our friend and mentor, Roy,
Does Roy listen to this?
there's no way.
He's too busy.
He
Why would he?
he always he loves cold brew. He comes from second wave coffee.
Houston, second wave.
Houston second wave. He wants to walk into a coffee shop and for there to be like dirty couches because he finds that romantic. And I get it. I get it. But he also loves cold brew. And he was like, people don't want this acidic iced coffee that we liked and we still like.
Yeah.
He's like, people want cold brew, so figure out a way to do both because cold brew is good. And
Yeah.
so we started doing cold brew, and then everything got better.
Haven't looked back.
Haven't looked back, and we still have a means to do the fruity, icy stuff.
Via our iced middle child.
Yeah.
And the ultimate debunk would be to do a really high acidity coffee on cold brew.
Yep.
Then that would be the last nail in our coffin.
Which to Bryce's point, Kenya.
Kenya.
I know. I really want to put tan lines on cold brew.
Yeah. Just do a little special run.
Please. Yeah, that would be sick. One keg only. Come one, come all.
I had some other coffee I liked
Oh, I'm sorry. I was the only one that answered the question.
in Charleston. Yeah. It wasn't the best coffee in the world, but I was pleasantly surprised by the quality of the coffee in our hotel.
Oh,
That was going to be my answer.
I'm
sorry.
but
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. The Ryder Hotel, they've got to be brewing some, it's probably an 82, little acidity.
82?
Yeah.
I think it's that low?
I thought it was that low.
Bro.
I was probably an 82.
well, it was the roaster that you would think it would be.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's great. And it's probably that blend that Bryce was talking about.
100%.
So it's probably a blend of some, 87s, 81s, because it's cheap.
Right.
But it had some structured, pleasant acidity. It was chocolatey. It wasn't fruity at all, but it just had just acidity.
Mm-hmm.
And I appreciated that because hotel coffee is usually not that good.
Yeah, I enjoyed my hotel coffee every morning. So, those were my two
That's awesome.
as well. So
Yeah.
I match up with you guys.
We're linking up there.
It wasn't that much of a coffee trip for us.
We didn't
sure.
drink a lot of coffee.
We used to just do coffee crawls like on our last owners retreats, but
Favorite thing I put in my body that trip was the Paloma, frozen Paloma at Basic
gosh.
Kitchen.
Oh,
And my goodness, I had two.
what a
I think
treat.
Too
did
many.
we all have two?
I had to.
no, I had one. Oops.
Oh, because you had the hard kombucha
That's right.
Yeah.
as your aperitif.
It was
I
so
have
good.
my amuse-bouche.
The thing about a frozen drink is that it's always better than a non-frozen drink, in my opinion. But they're usually pretty sweet, and that Paloma was not sweet. It was bracing and brisk and dry.
Bryson.
It was briskin. It was great.
Got to shout out Bryce for something he put us on to. Took a really long time to drink his cocktail. And
Yeah.
he says, looks like I'm getting my master's degree in nursing over here.
Yeah, but it's only that funny if you say it like a lot.
Yeah.
It's like a-
He's
Oh,
like, and then Ethan's like, a little later on, is like, dude, you're about to become a nurse practitioner.
Yep. Still working on that nursing degree.
Oh, love that.
It's good.
Hey, how about first of all, this coffee.
It's too hot. I can't say anything about it yet.
What?
I'm sorry.
It's not too hot.
Is it too late now to say sorry?
It's
It's better than the last time we had it.
What do we have it on the
Stag.
the Stag last time?
Stag X.
Yeah, the Studio Pro.
Yep.
Yeah. This is better for sure. The drawdown time was predictable, which is usually the problem with Clevers.
Yeah. Anyways, chapter 13, Unreasonable Hospitality.
It was a short one,
It was.
but
Shorty.
I liked that. I liked how it was just a to the point.
Situation.
You know,
I feel like it was the most precise chapter in the sense that like it knew what it was talking about and it didn't bounce all over the place.
yeah.
Book review.
Did you guys know what the association was that he was referencing? Relais and Chateau.
I'd never heard of it.
I also have never heard of it.
Wow, keep up.
Kind of like a Michelin star vibe.
You had heard of it?
No,
No, okay.
guys, what? Plug your ears.
I'll tell you that. So, but the chapter was basically about affirming your team, and not only that, but leveraging affirmation when it comes from other sources besides the boss. So that is something that I've always seen the value in and wanted to do, but have not implemented correctly, which is making sure that people on the team know about the reviews we're getting on Google, on Yelp, our favorite, obviously Yelp, and Apple. Just all these reviews we get are people really take the time to write heartfelt things
yeah.
because I think they truly are touched by the experience and are impacted by it. Some people just leave a star rating, but
That's cool too.
and that's cool too. Leave us 5 stars.
Like, thank you so much.
But the team, I think that really exhorts and edifies them to see those reviews and to see the fruits of their labor. So just simply, I thought about, every Basecamp message I write, which listeners, if you don't know what Basecamp is, it's our communication software in our company. But just at the beginning of each Basecamp message or whatever the meeting is, just reading off a few reviews
Yeah.
to set the tone, because I can, as the boss, say all those things, and that's beneficial and I should do that, but it hits different when it comes from an outside source because it's just more honest. It's more honest feedback for it to just be a completely anonymous, subjective person that came into our cafe on a random day.
Yeah, it's really easy. I don't want to get too off track about talking about reviews because we have a podcast about reviews.
We do.
And it'll be right up here.
Is it going to be linked?
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
When you point, is it actually, are you going to make a bubble and post?
I'm not going to make a bubble. It's just like YouTube's little card thing. You know?
It's a card thing.
Even just scrolling through the reviews, like right now,
Yeah.
I saw 15 of the most recent, and they're like all 5 stars. And then there's one that's like 4 stars. Space could be more. And that's the only thing that stuck out to me.
Yeah.
And I fall into that.
Yeah.
And we talked about not falling into that, but I did.
I get that.
And there's another one that's 1 star and just says horrible.
Yeah.
Crap.
At least they kind of gave us a way to go with that.
Yeah, we know
Yeah.
where to,
what to
horrible.
do, what to do next.
Just in all ways.
in light of that.
Yeah.
It's kind of what we talked about, improving 1% in every area.
That's what they meant. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
we can start doing that. Message received. Yeah, that's huge. Trying to also just appreciate the encouragement and the affirmation, and then also to share it. I feel like we're probably going to start being in more of a transition of this warning that he says of don't take credit for other people's work, because for so long Valor was just like our thing. Anything new or inventive was kind of like us leading the way, but we've built such a talented, impassioned team that we're getting some great ideas from the team. And it's like, we got to make sure to learn how to highlight them and spotlight them. Now, his example is that he has like legit press,
Yeah.
and that's pretty cool. I wonder if that would ever happen for us and we'd be able to put someone on our team highlighted in that way.
I bet we would.
I bet we would. I bet we will.
As much crap as we've talked about some of the barista competition formats. I wish someone on our team would be like, I want to do this,
Yeah.
because that would be really awesome for them.
Yeah.
Maybe you.
I wish someone in this room would.
Yeah.
What? Then there was a little part about like, well, if you credit your team, aren't you worried about them just getting poached? Mm-hmm. I don't know if that's ever crossed your mind. It hasn't for me.
Same.
But he did say, like, the onus was on me. What is onus?
Like the it's your move, it's your responsibility next. It's
Great.
your prerogative.
The prerogative was on me to take such great care of my people they wouldn't want to leave. And you're like, great, yeah.
I think only one person has ever like put in their 2 weeks or whatever notice and been like, I'm going to work at another coffee shop. And it was because of proximity to their home.
This
Yep.
is true. This is true. So,
Flex.
yeah. But honestly, in a different way, just people working so well here that people get potentially poached just for other jobs
Like-
all the time.
More typical career type of jobs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or like the hotel was opening across the street and they're like, Lillaby, you're amazing. Come work at the hotel.
Yeah.
But that was just Lillaby being awesome.
But that's what we do too. So fair.
Yeah, it's like all's fair in love and war. Kind of like the episode of The Bear where she starts talking to these chefs taking a smoke break outside the restaurant. And then the chef's like, get out of here.
Oh, yeah, that was a funny bit. That moment of desperation. Dude, such a good show. You watched it yet?
I still haven't watched it. I'm still watching Quarterback.
Dude, run, don't walk. Quarterback is good, but the Bear doesn't compete.
Yeah, I know.
So, like,
but
stop watching Quarterback now.
I know, but
stop.
Ross, stop.
Ross, stop.
I get that it's not that good, but look, it's the topic is too good for
Dude,
it to,
it's just, I watched the first episode and I was like, oh, this is scratching my desire for football
yeah.
itch right
Yeah.
now.
They put it out
in July.
at the perfect time.
yeah,
I'm like, I'm desperate.
I
I'm just
had
reading about
that same thought.
Saquon Barkley's contract options. Like, give me something.
Yeah.
I will say, whoever filmed that and directed it, the shot of them in like the dark room with the spotlights behind them is such a bad angle for every single one of them, especially Kirk.
Kirk.
Is it like a continual shot in the?
It's just like they always go back to them in like this studio room, like just like talking head vibes of interview, and it's just so.
Oh, I think I know.
It's
Oh,
a bad
yeah.
shot. It's really bad.
I never noticed
Dude,
it.
new
but
title to this episode: Riley Roast production of Netflix is Quarterback.
Netflix's.
Netflix's. Hey guys, chapter 13. Dial in. Come on. What do you got? Yeah, can I just read the quote from our former president, Calvin Coolidge? I thought it was really nice.
yeah, go for it.
He said it before in the book, but
yeah, he did, didn't
thought
he?
I
The
just-
editor lost that one, didn't he?
yeah.
Dude, that looks so perfectly imperfect that I thought it was a part of your book and not my Kindle book.
I don't know where I learned the little double parentheses thing, but it's been good to me.
But you love it? Because
Do
you can put something right here, like pointing to it.
Do you do it?
I don't personally have paper books anymore.
Do you
I'm
make
sorry.
this symbol
I used
in
to
your
make
life?
that.
No, I've no.
Do you guys make this symbol in your life? No, I'm just kidding. This is a quote from the president, Calvin Coolidge. Nothing in this world can take the place of persistence. Talent will not. Nothing is more common than unsuccessful men with talent. Genius will not. Unrewarded genius is almost a proverb. Education will not. The world is full of educated derelicts. Whoa, Calvin. Persistence and determination alone are omnipotent. Whoa.
Wow.
I'm sure that tickled your guys' fancy because I would say a theme of this company has been persistence.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
I had the same thought, my friend.
Dude.
Yeah, just when we were first starting, it's like, we're just going to keep going. And this has got to work.
You don't reach the top by taking no for an answer, especially not the first time you get it. We needed to be willing to fail. Riley Westbrook. Just kidding.
Will Guidar.
That was Will.
Sorry, Will. Sorry about that, Will.
Yeah. Imagine the first time Ramon said no to our cart being there.
Be like, oh, well.
But then we said, "Are you sure?" And he said,
You sure about that?
"I'm not going to say
Sure
what
about
he
that
said
one?
on air because I'll have
Yeah.
to put the E next to it."
Yeah. But it was a positive, constructive
Oh, yeah.
thing.
Oh, yeah.
The last line of the chapter, I think, sums it up perfectly. It says, being intentional in using that praise to encourage, inspire, and uplift our team could shift us into a whole new gear.
Cha-ching. It's good stuff.
Have you guys thought about reading on in the book? Like, whenever you're sitting down to read it, just being like, I could just take this home right now.
I mean, we are like tiptoeing or like snail's pace through this thing. We
Yeah.
probably have 40% of the book left. But I do find myself reading ahead often and then just reading it again. But
Yeah. So as we've already talked about, we visited Charleston Sunday to Wednesday of last week.
Sunday to Wednesday.
So we were gone on our usual Tuesday podcast day,
Sorry.
but we try to yearly take a time to get away and to talk about our company and our trajectory. So we hadn't gone anywhere in a minute. We went to Portland, Maine in November of 2021. Yeah.
Yep.
And then we opened a cafe. And so that
And had 3 children.
and had 3 children. So that sidelined us from our regular scheduled programming for a while. But we got back to it, and it was pretty dang good, right?
It was awesome. Very refreshing.
Oh, yeah. So I think the theme was casting vision for the future and realigning, because we're all over the place. You know, we hear ideas and we think, yes,
We could do that.
we could do that. And then we decide to do it, or we think we're going to do it. And then we group back up and we're like, let's not do it.
Well, Riley, let
Yes.
me just bounce off that for a second. Yes, we're just a coffee company with 2 cafes. But we also have a roastery. We also run a wholesale business. We also run a catering business. It's like 5 things
Yep.
that could all deserve our undivided attention.
Yeah.
And so I think it's been really important for us to know what we're saying no to so that we can know what we're saying
Yes.
yes
too.
to.
There's also the hours that you can put into improving something that you already have versus the hours you can put into expanding and growing something. I think that was a big point of emphasis for us as well, especially with cafes. Do we want to hunker down and improve the ones we have, or do we want to open more? And those are 2 very different things, and it's pretty hard to do both of those things at the same time with excellence.
Yeah. And we kept running into that. Something that the book says really well is that hospitality and excellence are often opposing forces.
Yeah.
So we were talking about how we can channel that and live out our vision of being the best coffee shop with the best service. And that's interesting. But I think something we want to say, first of all, for you out there who either have a business or are looking to start a business or looking to set your vision in the first place, there's a reason that we do these retreats. There's a reason we don't just, cancel our normal events in our work week and just come to the office and get into a room with each other. And it's because getting out of your rhythm and getting away, it really helped to minimize distraction. And, if we come here and there's just a million things that happen, every time the roaster throws an error and it's beeping, that's that weighs. on the mind.
Definitely.
So it was cool to set expectations like with our staff that we were going to be like unavailable in case of an emergency, like unless it was an emergency.
Yep.
And big shout out to all entities holding it down with ease and wisdom and excellence.
Ownership.
It's
good.
Authority.
Yeah, you got to have a good staff to do that. So, getting out of that rhythm and getting focused is huge. And then whenever you do that, I think for us at the beginning, we were like, what do we want to talk about? And even before we went, we were like, what do we want to talk about? But we really were kind of just like, let's just think about like, what are we going to focus on over the course of the next year? Mm-hmm. And how is that going to improve our company? And it led us to some things. And we can discuss those a little bit and kind of just talk about how we came to our conclusions and how you might be able to do the same, listener, viewer.
Real quick, before we do that, just want to talk about the importance of moving towards a vision. Because if you don't move towards a vision, then you are just going to be at the mercy of whatever your daily circumstances are. And we have been in seasons like that, and it is not where we want to be. Because our business is it is a beautiful thing, and it is also just constantly generates problems. And that is not because we have a bad business, not because our people are bad, not because our product is bad, but it is because that is just how the world works. And it is our duty and joy to solve problems and empower people to solve those problems. And so that's just a given. It's going to happen. The roaster's going to throw the error code. The espresso machine's going to act weird. Somebody's going to call out of work, whatever the case may be. And that's just how it is. But if we're not setting a vision of what we're headed towards, then we will always just be consumed with those daily things. And it's not the worst thing in the world to just be consumed with those daily things, because it's just you're taking care of what you need to take care of.
Yeah.
But I think that the way that we are wired as humans and just people that are working is that we need to be moving towards something. And that thing, after a while, I think it just leads to burnout if we're only just like putting out the fires of the daily and operating. And especially with such an emphasis on core values that we have, one of those core values being hunger for growth, there needs to be this internal hunger to grow. And when there's not an internal hunger to grow, then you get caught up in that hamster wheel, just going up around and around, taking care of the problems of the day. So it was cool not only to have something conceptually that we're moving towards every day, but also something attainable that we're like, let's accomplish this thing. Another thing that I noticed about this trip is how proficient we've gotten over the years. Goden, like Seth, at talking with each other and being productive.
Go there, Ross.
Yeah, let's go there. So we were just able to we worked a lot, but we were able to get a lot done with like a lot of time. Does that make sense? Like in the past, I feel like we would just kind of go in circles with our conversations because we were, one, just younger and more inexperienced, but also I think we have just really started to value one another's time more because we have less of it. And it's like we spend less time just like processing with each other or just like venting to each other, or I think we're more professional with each other now. But I also feel like I've never been better friends with both of you at the same time, which is really cool.
Let me go get my tissues, bro. Come on.
So like we've been able to maintain the friendship side of it, but also while like when we turn on work mode, which we never really like super turn off work mode when we're together, but there's like different levels of it, I suppose. we're just able to be more like to the point. What is the objective? Let's talk about that and let's move on. And I just was really enjoying that on the trip, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was blown away at the array of topics that we were able to cover so professionally and proficiently.
Yeah.
It was just, we were able to dive into things without a laundry list of prefacing and a laundry list of like processing, kind of like what you were saying, because I think we're really starting to see Valor as its own entity and that we are just agents within it. And so when we're talking about the company and trajectory and decisions being made, it's a lot less personal in a good way. Like, as in like our ideas aren't descriptive of who we are as people. And so I think we're a lot more free to kind of throw stuff around and refine each other's ideas in a lot quicker of time, because a lot of emotion has been able to get out of the way, and like personalization, which is great.
Yeah.
I was thinking the same thing, man. I was really, and it's funny though, because you say all that and it sounds like we're just like robots talking about what to do with all the data, but at the same time, like I'm having the most fun I've ever had on this trip too.
Yeah.
Because we're able to just like cut loose and throw the frisbee in the parking lot and play Madden.
Drink frozen Palomas.
Drink a frozen Paloma and play Madden once we're done with all of our work for the day.
Take a dip in the chlorine.
Yeah, go in the chlorine pool, you know? Pass. So, and there's something too of just like the power of getting away, kind of what you're talking about, where a lot of those little logistic subtleties that kind of weigh down your mind can fade away. And then the things that really need to get talked about that are more like living in your mind rent free, you're more aware of those and are able to kind of address things quicker and
like charge them rent.
Yeah. Charge them rent to be around.
Yeah.
So passive
and then
income.
they move.
Yeah, it's kind of all about passive income, honestly.
One other thing I really liked was on some of our last trips and just some of our last like owners meetings was that whenever we get talking about big picture and the future and casting vision and what we're going to do next and projecting and like hypotheticals and all this stuff, there's a productive way to do that and there's a non-helpful way to do that. And so that's one thing. And I feel like we were able to do that in a productive way. I guess time will tell. But another thing that inevitably comes up is that you have all of these little details that are little problems that need to be improved that come up in your mind, but you have to like stuff those for another time because you're talking about big picture stuff. And we literally just made this master list of like everything we could possibly think of to improve in the company, because that's kind of, and this is getting into what we concluded and decided to focus on. We didn't spend a ton of time like projecting, you know, what sales would be on a third cafe, or, you know, if we launched this new canned latte product, like what would it, not that we would ever do that, but like what it would yield us. We didn't do any of that hypothetical. It was all just about what do we currently have and how do we maximize it. And there's a lot of very, very specific details about that, of like something even down to like, how do we get the baseboards to be more clean?
The dirty dish standard.
Yeah, like what is our standard operating procedure of doing dishes, and just like chopping it up about that. And the cool thing is we had this huge list of things, everything we could possibly think of, which was very, very cathartic, therapeutic for me, just to like get everything that I've been thinking about out and putting it on a list. You prioritize all of those things, then you delegate all those things, and then you execute on all of those things. And whenever you have a huge list, there's things that cost a lot of money And then there's things that just need a little like tune up. So like a thing that would cost a lot of money would be like, we don't love the fridge in one of our cafes, and it's causing this problem, which leads to this problem, which leads to this problem. So, okay, that's something that deserves attention. And so like you have to prioritize that because you can't do everything at once.
Prioritize and execute.
Yeah. But I threw in delegate in there because now we have more people to do that with.
Yeah.
You know, like,
And people that care about the same exact thing.
yes, absolutely. And like that was my voice. I don't know what happened. You like that? You like that? Kirk. Yeah. I think another part of these owners retreats, they're kind of like, they mark chapters in our business in my mind. One thing we do over the years as entrepreneurs and small business owners is we continually like detox from this mindset, which is that we as owners have to do everything.
Yeah.
And I think I've watched us just do that more and more over the years, that we've always had smart, capable people around us, but I think we're just learning how to delegate and utilize them more and more because one, they really do care about the same things we care about. And two, like it's their job. Like it's their job to improve the company as well. It's not just our job to be the ones that improve things. So that will be cool. It's like, you know, now that we're back, taking this huge list, prioritizing all of it, delegating it, and then watching it happen faster because there's more players involved than if it was just the three of us.
Yeah, because now more than ever, we would just have to ask above and beyond people because they're working
They're
full time
baristas. Yeah.
as the pit crew.
Yeah.
But now we have like people that are in leadership. It's a new thing,
Yeah.
but I love that. Thanks for saying that.
Yeah,
Yes.
everything you just said kind of ties in. Like you kind of hit on multiple topics, but that was kind of the theme. Like we talked a lot about the excellence of our cafes. And then we kind of audited our time as owners and said, you know, what can we hand off to other people to create, you know, more things for other people to do that aren't just us? Because that's the reality is we fall into that owner's mindset and then we are split between a lot of different things. And I know for myself personally, it's like I've been doing this thing since the company started. The default mindset is like, to train someone to do this is going to take forever. Or like, no one knows the intricacies of this the way that I do. But in reality, that thing is taking up, like, I only have room for that in 3 hours of my work week. Whereas I could hand it to someone and they could do it for 10 hours of their work week and be way better at it because they have like way more time and focus and they might enjoy doing it where I dread doing it. So that was probably my favorite part about the time.
Yeah.
Kind of chopping those things up and being like, you know, we have some paths forward to free ourselves to do the things that we are better at and enjoy more and will make the company more money.
Yeah. We broke the company up into categories, you know, like, because there came a point where we were saying so many just random things, sitting by the pool, chopping it up.
Queens Park Swizzle.
Yeah. And we had to start categorizing things, you know, like here are all of the things that need to be improved in the realm of drink excellence. Here's what needs to be improved in the realm of our people's head knowledge about coffee and passion as it relates to that. So that helped me keep it all organized in my mind, and I bet will help us a lot whenever we go back through it.
Oh, yeah. Ethan?
I also had a really great time talking about just the coffee side of stuff. You know, we were talking about getting our coffee into more people's hands, and that's a cool part. I feel like a lot of the conversation was around the cafes, but I always get excited when we start talking about the roastery coffees we're bringing in, what we're doing, subscriptions. I wonder if there's going to be a discount code in this episode. That's kind of what everybody was thinking.
Whoa. You better come up with it fast.
All right, give me to the end of that.
You know what? I actually think that the one from last episode is still live.
Well,
you can only use it once. If you use it twice, we'll know. And you
Josh
can't.
Cappuccino.
And you can't. But if you haven't listened to that episode, you can just go listen to that one. Find that discount code.
Find the code.
And maybe we'll have another discount code here soon. We'll see. Who knows?
I just had fun talking about that, and I'm excited to just get our coffee in more people's hands across the country.
Yeah. So if you've never tried our coffee, maybe you like our podcast, but you're thinking, these guys are good at talking, but are they good at roasting?
Well, no, we don't roast the coffee.
Well,
Sam does.
Well, newsflash, we don't roast the coffee, and we aren't even good at talking. So
no and no.
No and no.
But hey, we did send an order to Ireland yesterday,
We did,
right?
yeah.
So now we're even more worldwide.
We are officially Mr. Worldwide.
Thanks, wholesale guy Ross.
Hey.
Yeah, good job, Ross. Good job landing that account.
Yeah, it was super hard.
Yeah, that's
Super
awesome.
hard
You
work.
had to respond to the email.
Yeah.
What's it like?
I don't know. I blacked out.
You guys got anything else for the people? Any advice for setting a vision or?
Well, we have said it before, but in our orientation, we talk about what the mission and vision and values mean, because those are just words. But just real quick, if you don't remember, the vision is so it's in an analogy of a train. The vision is the destination that the train is headed to. The whole reason the train is in motion is to get to the destination. That's the vision. The values are the train tracks that keep the train headed towards the vision. And the mission is the fuel that the train is using to get to the vision and to stay on the train tracks. And I think that's just a really practical and useful definition of those words, to where it kind of applies it to your daily. And just back to the whole thing I said about there needs to be a reason your company is in motion, and the reason should be to get to your vision. And our vision is to match the top 1% of coffees in the world with the top 1% of service in the world. And whenever we started this company, we went to kind of two different types of establishments. One type was a really friendly place that was maybe a bit more second wave or not specialty coffee. And, they've got 4 different size cappuccinos and a whole wall full of syrups. And they've got French roast and dark roast and all this stuff.
Italian roast,
French roast, dark roast. And, the lady behind the counter's super sweet. She feels like your long lost grandma, and you leave feeling loved and cared for, but the coffee's not that good, or it's bad. And that's one kind of place we went to. And then another kind of place we went to is we would go to these really cool coffee shops that look awesome, and they know how to pour latte art, and they know what single origin means, and they put a highlight on the farmers, and it's specialty coffee, but the service is not good.
It's lacking.
It's lacking, or literally just non-existent. No personality. And so our question when we started Valor is, what if we just had the best of both worlds? Why can't we have the best of both of those things, where you have a very genuine, caring staff that is very interested in people's lives and leaves people feeling cared for, but you also have an incredibly excellent product. And I think that, so I know that's always been our vision, but I think we just have focused on the service and hospitality side of it more than the coffee side of it, specifically in our cafes. I think our roasting, because it's harder to focus on hospitality in our roasting side, like we've focused on the coffee side in our roasting because it's just coffee. But in our cafes, we're known for our hospitality. We're known for our employee culture and the amazing people we have. So it's easier to play to your strength in that way. Mm-hmm. And don't get me wrong, our coffees taste great in our cafes like they always have. But if we're actually talking about the top 1% of coffee in the world, in the top 1% of service. That's incredibly rare and excellent and high end. And I fully believe that we can do that, and we're not there. Like, that's the thing about a vision too, is that it's a destination. So we're headed towards that, and there will be no way to quantify if we're actually the top 1% of coffee or service, when we arrive there. But I think it's really just about like being the best you can be. And I don't think we're the best we can be right now. And I think we're pretty darn good.
Right.
But there's just so much more. And we always need to believe in keeping the front of our brains that there is so much more. There's so much left on the table. And a lot of that is going to be accessed by activating and empowering our team. And we've always thought that, but we haven't always had the systems and the execution to do that and sustain that. So I'm excited for that. We've always cared about coffee training and coffee excellence, but we haven't always had the systems and sustainability in coffee training and further education to sustain that either. Mm-hmm. So we've always done the best we could, but I think it's just like putting more program and system around it, which has been the common story of our whole business, which is like taking talent and hard work and God-given ability and putting a system around it so that we can replicate it and give it to more people. Mm-hmm. And we just do that over and over and over and over again every year. So it's cool to step into that more on this trip. Hey,
let him cook, dude. Like, let him cook.
Let him cook.
Yep. Amen, dude. I think a part of excellence is innovation. Maybe we've gotten closer and further away, but I see a lot of places just kind of start. They get the equipment, they get the systems and the recipes, and then they just kind of like let them happen forever. Totally. But it's like a constant assessment, a constant reassessment, a reassessment, a push. So I'm excited for this next season to do some pushing.
Yeah, man.
Welcome to the Innovation Station. Toot toot.
Toot toot.
Let's gore. All right.
Let's gore.
That's going to do it for this week of Coffee Sometimes. Right?
We are descending into Coffee Sometimes land. We will be landing. It is a balmy 76 degrees Fahrenheit. Thank you so much for traveling with us this morning. Have a good day.
You're pretty good at that, dude.
Thank you.
That and your play ball voice are both.
Play ball.
Those are both top tier.
Thank you.
You're
I've
awesome,
got a few
man.
tricks.
You're
Got a few
awesome.
tricks.
Well, if you've enjoyed this episode, please
Like,
Subscribe
comment.
review.
on your favorite. Share with your friends and share with your friends.
Yes, absolutely. And make sure to tune in next week for another episode of the Coffee Sometimes podcast. We love you.